Good morning.
Good morning.
We're in Krakow.
No, we're not. We're in Chicago.
We're supposed to be in Krakow,
That's
but
right.
we're not.
We had a little bit of a precarious isn't the right word. We had a bad travel day yesterday. So we started out pretty well. We made it to the airport. Everything was going fine. We made it to Chicago, and then we get on the plane. We sit there for about an hour, and then I hear the pilot. He speaks in German first. We're on an Austrian Air flight, and then he says in English, and he says during his announcement about what's going on,
in German.
Something is kaputt. So I was like, oh boy.
I know that. That's the
I
only
know
word
that
I
word. That's the
know.
only German word I know, kaputt. And so sure enough, the engine was kaputt, and so they decided not to take us to Vienna yesterday. So our flight was canceled. And so subsequently they put us up.
It was a sold-out flight, so there wasn't a seat left
packed
on the flight, and it was a big giant plane, sold like not a seat.
Yep.
left.
So they put us up in a fancy hotel.
Actually, you just jumped over like 8 hours.
8 hours of what? Of hassle.
Okay, so what happened? So as soon
There
as
you
the air, so we're going to give some tips here, not just what happened on our day. So we are on our big giant transatlantic flight, and when the pilot says we are canceling this flight, I got on my phone instantly.
We actually both got on our
Yeah.
phones. We both started trying to call United.
Yep, United, and so we booked our ticket through United on Miles, and it was an Austrian Air, a partner flight. So we started with United since that's who we called that's who we made our reservation with. So I got on the phone with United. I was probably on the phone for maybe about an hour. So we had, unfortunately, so we are, just to back up 1 second, we are huge believers in carry-on luggage, and our bags aren't those kind of fancy rolly bags. They're like the older school roll bags, so the wheels don't tuck under. Well, if your wheels didn't tuck under, you had to check your luggage. So we were like, that stinks, because we like to go carry-on, so that we're very flexible. And so we had to wait for our bags everyone's bags were put back in the baggage carousel, claim your bags, and this all took an hour or so. So I was on the phone with United, and the flight wasn't showing canceled, so she couldn't rebook us, and we couldn't be rebooked in the earliest. It was going to be like more than a day delay. So the hotel was like you skipped over the whole what happened in between.
Oh, there you go. So I guess also, so finally we did get a flight. So we have.
It was a lot of effort.
We were in line with multiple people who didn't have remade arrangements, and so by the time we left the airport last night, we actually had a rearranged flight that's on Swiss Air, and so we did several steps. And Amy also left out, where we took the shuttle bus back to where United is, had a conversation with United. So we finally got things sort of settled, and we're scheduled to get into Krakow basically a day late. So,
yep, so we are doing an Airbnb today. That's a little tricky with an Airbnb. Fortunately, our hostess is extremely accommodating, but that's something to consider. So travel has a lot of like things happening, and if we were at a hotel, it's not as big a deal because maybe they're there 24 hours a day in most hotels around the world. But in this Airbnb, this is our own private apartment. So it's not someone's everyday home, so she has to arrange that, and if she had plans today, well, that would have been kind of bad. So just something to consider if you're planning Airbnbs. I know we love them, lots of people love them, we do them in combination with hotels, but that's just the kind of a pitfall of an Airbnb, that if something went wrong and she was like, I'm not around, well then how were we going to get into the home? So just something to consider. And when Tim said, so we got into Chicago O'Hare Airport, we arrived on a Terminal 1, which was the United airline terminal. They have like a tram, I guess it is, that takes you around all the big terminals at O'Hare, and it's out of order because they're expanding it. So for many months it's completely shut down. So we make our way all the way over to the tram, which is kind of far, and we have to leave security, and so we do that. The tram is out of order for many, many, many months. So we have to go outside, get on the packed bus. So we get on the packed bus, go to Terminal 5, which is too far to really, it's probably at least more than half a mile away, maybe a mile away. So we go to you can't do this underground, not doing security, or else we would have done it. You have to leave the terminal. So we go from Terminal 1 on the very crowded bus to Terminal 5. We go into our flight. We had a really good experience. We had a 15-minute stopover in the lounge that we get.
KLM Air France
lounge.
Yeah,
and we get that thanks to our priority pass that we get through our Chase Rewards.
It was a very small lounge, but it had a nice
card.
collection of food. It wasn't anything fancy, so it was pretty basic.
We like free.
The food options were pretty decent.
They were pretty
considering
good.
And so
Tim took like a pound of roasted salted nuts to go in like a bag.
That's right.
It was so embarrassing. So anyway, so we did have like a 15-minute like stock up on snacks. We were on the plane for, like I said, one of us said for a full hour before the pilot said that. So it was going to make a 9.5 hour flight.
My entertainment system wasn't working on the plane, so I was happy it was canceled. So,
so you wished it to be canceled. But
that's right.
Anyway, we were thinking that a 9-hour plus flight was going to be a 10-hour plus flight with that extra time on the tarmac. But
no, we're still here in Chicago.
So
here's a couple of things. So finally, we got our. So after we made phone calls, we also waited in line to get our arrangements for tonight.
Probably 4 hours in line.
Usually, when an airline has an issue, oftentimes, if it's not weather related, if it's weather related, sort of all bets are off. So you're going to have to find a hotel for yourself. You may sleep at the airport, etc. But if it's the airline's fault, mechanical being something that's going to qualify as the airline's fault, and they make you stay over a certain amount of time, oftentimes they'll put you up. And last night, Austrian Air put us up in a hotel. It's not very fancy. It's just
we're here right now.
We're here right now.
With our fancy teacup.
Holiday Inn Express, and it's fine. It's not.
It's free.
It's free. That's exactly right. They also will often feed you, and so they gave us food vouchers for dinner last night, breakfast this morning, and lunch today. And so. And breakfast is free at the hotel anyway, so that wasn't much of a give. But was that they also paid for a taxi ride to the hotel, which is actually sort of nice for us. So this would be something to ask for if you ever get resituated. So
there's
like 300
taxi.
people getting off this plane, and so everybody's coming to this hotel. And so the shuttle, which I think they only have 1 or 2 of, comes every 30 minutes, and they can get 10 or 15 people on the shuttle. So people were waiting for like an hour on the shuttle.
And didn't get on.
And didn't get on.
And it was going to be another 35 minutes.
So we walked up to the shuttle and then realized, we didn't ask for this, but something important to know. We had a taxi voucher, and so we took it to the taxi stand and said, can somebody here take this? And not all the taxi drivers did, but we finally found somebody who would take it, and so we took a taxi to the hotel instead of waiting on the free shuttle, and that was paid for by Austrian as well.
Yeah, so something to be kind of persistent. So travel stuff happens, and that we understand that, and that's why we want to do this before while we're still young enough to do it, because we walked 10,000 steps just in the airports yesterday. So we went, as I mentioned, we went from Terminal 1 to Terminal 5. Well, when our flight was canceled, we did stand in line at Austrian Airlines over at Terminal 5 for at least 2 hours, I'd say, and then we got back on the shuttle bus back to Terminal 1, which was where United was, because Tim called United 2 separate times and was hung up on after waiting twice for an hour with a representative having an engaged conversation. Disconnected, hung up on twice. So we made our way back to Terminal 1 on the bus, got reticketed fully while we were standing at United, which was helpful. And then we realized that the hotel is in the middle of nowhere and the restaurant option at the hotel was closed. So we went back to Terminal 5, where we did have a voucher that gave us dinner at the hotel. Well, the hotel dinner was closed. So we went back to Terminal 5. Austrian Air is totally shut down by this point. So I went to a partner of theirs. They're all under the Star Alliance, which is United and Lufthansa, and then we went to something that was open, EVA Airlines. I don't know if it's EVA. I never heard of this airline, but they were clearly going to an Asian country. And I asked the woman, as a Star Alliance partner, if she could hook us up with a voucher at the airport for dinner, because we didn't want to get a takeout. We could only do like a delivery pizza, I guess, at our hotel, and we would have had to pay for that ourselves. So we decided to ask the Sky Alliance partner for a voucher, and so she was able to take care of us.
Actually,
and we got dinner
I'm not
at the
so
hotel.
sure. So I very much appreciate. So this isn't to diminish anything that Amy did in having a conversation with these people. Ultimately, all he did is write something on our one voucher that said that you can use this at the airport. And so we didn't have a voucher, a separate voucher for a meal. We only had a voucher for the hotel. And so I believe that the people at the airport ultimately, just out of the goodness of their heart, gave us a meal because we looked so frazzled. But
well,
nonetheless,
we're not looking to be taking.
I think that the message here is
we're not looking to be stealing from people.
No, but I think that the message is, as Amy says, persistence is key. So asking the question, asking it again, and so trying to do it as nicely as you can whenever you are worked up, which we were. So I think yesterday I'm going to give us a C- in terms of how we sort of reacted to the day. So from my business travel days, I sort of got in the zone. When stuff doesn't work, you just sort of deal with it and you roll with the punches. ultimately our day worked out okay, but it was a tough day. So I think that we didn't react as well as we could. So we were a little hyped up just from the challenges, and so anyway.
So a lot of walking, and our luggage is actually heavy. I've definitely overpacked, and it's not the clothes so much as heavy, it's all the toiletries. So we're bringing like vitamins and stuff for even though it's for 60 something days, even though you can buy all these things in Europe, I'd still have to carry them in Europe too. We're going to 11 different destinations, so it's not like I'm going to go buy Q-tips in every single city and throw them in the garbage in 3 days. So no matter what, if I'm going to use Q-tips, I got to bring Q-tips. And so I brought 63 days of Q-tips, and Q-tips isn't the only thing that I brought. I brought deodorant and everything for 63 days, toothpaste and all that stuff. So so hopefully today's day goes better. We are expecting to get in a day late, and we have 2 tight-ish connections, a 1 hour and 2 hour in Europe, and they're kind of like I said, they're tight, and it's clearing customs. So please wish us luck, and hopefully when this views, we will be in Poland. So we promised a video every day. Well, this is today's video, so there you go. We still don't know how to say anything in Polish. We're gonna figure that out as we're getting into Poland. We still have a ways to get
Zloty.
there today.
I know Zloty.
That's their money. So thanks for watching. Please like below, subscribe, and ask any questions. We answer them all. Thanks. Bye.